Exposed. I discovered an incredible secret in my husband's office that changed my life forever. Emily couldn't shake the chill creeping up her spine as she sat cross-legged on the floor of Mark's chaotic home office, the sunlight fading through the window. The room smelled of old paper and dust, a stark contrast to the warmth of her bustling kitchen just down the hall. What a mess, she thought, glancing around at mountains of boxes piled high with magazines and worn-out toys. But it wasn't the clutter that took her breath away, it was the mysterious envelope peeking out from beneath a stack of faded photographs. With trembling hands, she slid it open. Inside were letters, real, yellowed letters and pictures that showed a side of Mark she never knew existed. Each image seemed to leap off the page, revealing him in uniform, surrounded by comrades in dusty landscapes. Deep eyes filled with determination and stories untold. She gasped, her heart racing. Mark was a decorated veteran? How had she not known? Each word she read made her chest tighten more and more. These were not just love notes from a husband to a wife. They were echoes of bravery, sacrifice, and covert missions that changed the course of history as the evenings wore on. The picturesque suburb of Maplewood took on a different tone. Neighbors gathered for barbecues, laughter ringing out in the cooling air, while Emily felt the weight of undisclosed truths pressing heavy on her heart. The whispers were everywhere. Eyes darted her way, shoulders shrugged in disbelief. Was she the only one who didn't know about Mark's past? Did they suspect her suspect the quiet family she had so lovingly built around a man cloaked in shadows? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Hit with confusion and betrayal, Emily found her footing shaken. The perfect life she built seemed to crumble, the crinkled edges of the letters reminding her that love was layered with complexity. Could she confront Mark? His silence cut through her. The truth now loomed like a storm cloud over their once peaceful existence. Navigating through moments of heated conversations and tense encounters with friends turned into debates about heroism, sacrifice, and loyalty. Emily became an unlikely voice, someone who wanted to uncover the heart of her husband's silence while defending him against pitchfork-wielding accusations within their community. Then, caught in the electric tension of her emotions, she stood before Mark, crying out to know, to confront the walls built around his past. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, a sudden knock at the door sent her heart racing, interrupting whatever fragile resolve she mustered. Who was there? What did they want? A new chapter was about to unfold, one she hadn't anticipated. Would it unravel all her hopes, or would it steer her towards understanding and forgiveness? As she took a deep breath, ready to face whatever lay ahead, uncertainty washed over her. This was only the beginning. Emily's heart raced as she approached the door. The knock echoed through the silence, the weight of unsaid words hanging heavy in the air. She hesitated, thoughts swirling. Did she want to open the door and face whatever was behind it? Or was she ready to confront Mark, to unravel the tightly wound threads of their life together? With a deep breath, she turned the doorknob. The door creaked open to reveal a man in a crisp navy suit, holding a dark leather briefcase. His dark hair was slicked back, giving him an authoritative presence that instantly set Emily on edge. He looked familiar, and as he smiled, she tried to place him. "Good evening, ma'am," he said, his voice deep and calm. "I'm with the Veterans Affairs office. I'm here to see Mr. Mark Thompson. Is he home?" Emily's stomach twisted. Yes," she stammered. "Yes, in the living room." The man glanced at her, a mix of curiosity and concern in his gaze. "May I?" he asked, gesturing past her toward the living room. "Of course," she replied, stepping aside, a knot of dread forming in her chest. What did this man want? The letters in Mark's office flashed through her mind, making her feel exposed, like a raw nerve. As the man walked in, Emily felt the urge to follow, but a voice inside urged her to stay back. What if this was it? The moment that everything spiraled out of control? She was enveloped by an aching mix of worry and anticipation. "Mark," the man called, his voice breaking the stillness. "We need to talk." She heard Mark's footsteps echo from the other room, and the tension thickened. This unexpected visitor was an unwelcome intrusion, unraveling the precious bubble of their family life. Emily's stomach churned. Would Mark be angry? Would he share his secrets? Or would the stranger push away the last vestiges of trust she had left? Mark emerged, looking confused but alert. When he recognized the man in the suit, his brow furrowed in confusion. "Derek? What are you doing here?" "Mark, it's urgent," Derek replied, his tone shifting slightly more serious now. "We need to discuss your service." Emily's heart dropped. "Service?" she whispered half to herself. Every piece of the puzzle she was trying to solve spun faster in her mind. At that moment, Derek turned to her, reading her disbelief. "Mrs. Thompson, your husband's involvement in the military is more significant than you know. It's important we clear the air on some things." Mark's eyes darted between them, tightening a coil of dread in Emily's chest. What was Derek going to reveal? The words that she had been longing to hear from her husband now seemed more elusive than ever with each passing second. The chasm between them widening, she willed herself to speak, a part of her aching to understand. "Mark, what is he talking about?" Mark shifted his weight, a flicker of anxiety crossing his face. "Emily." But the moment was interrupted by the sudden ringing of Mark's phone, cutting through the tension like a knife. He glanced at the screen, a mix of annoyance and panic flashing across his features. "I have to take this," Mark said, his voice strained. "Just wait here, okay?" Emily wanted to scream, to pull her hair out in frustration. The moment was slipping away. On one corner, there stood a man who seemed to be interested in her husband's past, while on the other, her husband was escaping once again as Mark stepped out of the room. Emily stood frozen, watching Derek. What secrets did Mark keep that warranted a visit from this man? And more importantly, would she ever learn the truth? With her heart pounding, she realized she was more determined than ever to uncover the layers of her husband's past. She needed answers, and she wasn't going to shy away now. But just as she gathered her thoughts, the phone call seemed to stretch on, hearts beating across the room. A deeper question looming: could she separate the man she loved from the shadow of the man he once was? With a sudden urgency, she took a step forward, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. Would uncovering the truth bond them closer together, or tear their fragile world apart? Emily's heart raced as she struggled to grapple with the storm brewing inside her. She had always known there were things Mark kept from her. But this felt like the ground beneath her was shifting. Alone in the living room, she could only stare at Derek, who stood with an air of urgency that made her skin prickle. Derek cleared his throat. "I understand this is unexpected," he began, glancing toward the door where Mark had disappeared. "But the situation is delicate. It impacts not just him but you too." "What do you mean?" Emily's voice trembled with both fear and confusion. She needed clarity, needed to trap the elusive truth that seemed to dance beyond her reach. "We've had information about Mark's service documents that indicate." His words hesitated as he sensed the heaviness in the air. "It's about a covert operation. Something that's been kept classified. He wasn't just a soldier, Emily. He was part of something that could endanger him, and anyone close to him, even now." As his words sunk in, Emily felt her breath hitch in her throat. That's why he had those letters hidden away, why he flinched when the topic of his past came up. A part of her had clung to the hope that it was something simpler. She hadn't realized how deep the layers went. Mark re-entered the room, his expression a mix of composure and flashbacks that sparked worry in Emily. "What's going on?" he asked, trying to mask the concern in his voice, but failing miserably. "Mark, we were just discussing your service." Derek gestured toward Emily, who stood awkwardly, clutching the edge of the sofa as a wave of tumultuous emotions crashed over her. Mark's jaw tightened. "I asked you not to bring this up, Derek. I know, but we don't have time to avoid the truth anymore. Emily deserves to know, especially with what's coming." Mark's focus shifted to Emily, his eyes pleading. I can explain what? She interrupted, fear untangling into anger. That you've been living a double life? That I've been married to a stranger? Emily, please. It's not like that, Mark replied, desperation etched in his voice. I tried to protect you, to keep you safe from this life I once led. Derek stepped forward. But it's not over, Mark. There are people watching. The past doesn't just go away. It's coming back, and I can't let her be in the dark about it anymore. Mark swallowed hard, each movement slow and deliberate. He looked from Derek to Emily, panic blending with resolve. I didn't want you to worry about things you shouldn't have to carry. Emily cut him off again. But I do carry them, Mark. What if something happens? What if the thought terrified her? The weight of what she could lose made her voice crack. I promise I'll handle it. Whatever it is, I'll protect you. His voice softened, turning into a plea. Just trust me. Trust you? After all this? She felt lost, waving her hands dismissively, trying to piece together this new reality. Everything she thought she knew was challenged. A threat is coming, and I need you both to be careful, Derek interjected, a frown marring his otherwise stoic demeanor. Mark, we don't have much time. Emily, there's something else, he faltered. Mark shifted, his eyes widening, urging Derek to stop. What do you want to say? But Derek hesitated, weighing his words as he met Emily's gaze. It's about those letters. They're more than just reminders of his past. They hold details that could change everything. Lives are at stake. A cold chill ran through Emily's body. What lives? What secrets? This was spiraling faster than she could fathom. Derek continued, I have a file that could explain everything in more depth, but I need your help. Emily. Help? Mark snapped, disbelief flashing across his features. You're not bringing her into this. But Emily's heart thundered in her chest. This was the crossroad she feared yet anticipated. She could either turn back or take the plunge. No, I want to know, she stated firmly, meeting Mark's concerned eyes. I need to understand what's happening. If there's even a slight chance of danger. Mark's tension faded into something softer. Vulnerable. I won't let anything happen to you. I promise. But Emily wasn't sure. As she stood straddling the line between ignorance and harsh reality, the urgency of the moment loomed heavy. Mark, she said steadily, I refuse to live in the shadows anymore. What are you hiding? What have you gotten us into? And just as the weight of her question settled, the familiar vibration of Mark's phone sprang to life again. The tension in the room shifted, an ominous sign that whatever was coming, it was about to hit with full force. What now? Mark whispered, fear creeping back into his voice, casting a shadow on the fragile hope they'd been clinging to. Emily's heart raced once more, as she realized their fragile world was on the brink of unraveling. What would the future hold for them? With that, the doorbell rang once again, bringing with it a stark question: who else was there to confront the truth? Mark's shoulders stiffened as the doorbell chimed, breaking the heavy silence that had draped over them. Derek's expression shifted, eyes narrowing in concern as he glanced toward the door, a palpable tension filling the space between them. Emily's stomach churned. She felt like a tightrope walker, teetering on the edge with no safety net below. Stay here, Mark commanded, moving toward the door with purposeful strides. He turned back briefly, his gaze full of urgency. I mean it. Whatever this is, it could be dangerous. Emily's heart raced at the thought. Danger? It felt as if she was living in a suspense movie. But this was her reality. She stood frozen, uncertainty pooling in the pit of her stomach. She wanted to shout for him to stop, to take her with him, but instead, she couldn't move. Dread held her captive. Mark opened the door slightly, barely peeking through the crack. His body language told her everything she feared. Whatever waited on the other side was not good. She caught only glimpses of shadows and a figure shifting just outside. There was something in Mark's stance, a mix of protectiveness and sheer fear that made her pulse spike. Who is it? Derek's voice cut through the thick air, filled with authority, demanding answers. Mark, the voice came, muffled but familiar. Emily strained to recognize it, her mind racing through possibilities. Friends? Neighbors? Just a minute, Mark replied, a hint of agitation flashing across his face. He seemed torn, caught between the urge to protect her and the need to confront whatever was on their doorstep. Please, just the voice pleaded. Emily's heart stopped. She knew that voice. It was Sarah, Mark's sister. Sarah? She whispered, yearning to be close to her family, now more than ever a refuge from the chaos swirling around her. Mark shot her a glance, his expression flickering with confusion before turning serious again. He opened the door wider, allowing Sarah to step inside. But when Emily caught sight of her, a knot formed in her throat. Mark, I've been trying to reach you, Sarah exclaimed, worry etched into every feature. You need to listen. They're looking for you. Behind her, the world seemed to grow dimmer. The casual air of a family reunion was replaced by the heavy undertone of dread. What do you mean? Mark's voice was strained, his eyes searching Sarah's face for answers. They found something, she whispered urgently, glancing at Emily as if she could sense how confused and vulnerable she felt. Something that connects you to everything that's been happening. You're not safe. Emily's resolve wavered. She had sought the truth, but now it felt like a hornet's nest had been disturbed. Was this the danger she had begged to understand? Enough, Mark snarled, stepping forward, his protective instincts kicking in. I won't let this pull Emily deeper into this mess. This is my life, my battle. Your battle? Sarah's voice rose, nearly cracking. If you don't take this seriously, it'll cost you everything, her life included. You can't hide this. Emily gasped, the words sinking in. She had entered into a world that was far more complex than she ever could have prepared for. Anxiety twisted in her, raising questions she had once chased away. Please, just tell me what's happening. She finally found her voice amidst the charged air. I need to know. I can't stand in the dark anymore. Mark hesitated, torn between the instinct to shield her and the undeniable weight of the truth. Her heart ached as she watched him wrestle with the decision. In that moment, she realized that their lives hinged on the next words spoken. But before he could decide, a sharp sound echoed from the hallway, a loud thud that sent all three of them reeling into silence. Did someone else just enter their home? The sense of violation struck Emily hard. This was not just about secrecy anymore. It was about safety. Mark's expression shifted, hardening as he turned to face the sound. Stay behind me, he instructed, stepping protectively in front of Emily and Sarah. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. Just then, the power flickered, and in that split second, everything felt like it was about to spiral out of control. Mark, what if this is the end? She whispered, her voice barely audible as the lights went out. Darkness enveloped them, plunging them into the unknown once again. In that moment, Emily realized it wasn't just about uncovering secrets anymore. It was about surviving them. And as they stood on the precipice, she couldn't help but wonder who, or what, would come for them next. The darkness pressed in tighter, thick like fog. Emily's heart raced, every member of her body screaming to flee. But all she could do was watch Mark. The weight of fear hung heavily in the air, pounding against her chest. Mark, Sarah's voice cut through the shadows. What do? We need to stay quiet. Shoo, Mark hissed, his voice low and tense. He stepped forward, inching toward the flickering remnants of light coming from the hallway. It was like watching a candle dance in the wind, both beautiful and terrifying. Emily clutched Sarah's arm, anxiety spiraling as the sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway. They were slow, deliberate, as if the intruder had taken their time, savoring the fear they were instilling. Whoever it is, they know we're here, Derek whispered, his tone almost clinical, like he was trying to analyze the situation despite the chaos unfolding around them. We need to stay alert. With a shared glance, Mark, Sarah, and Derek moved instinctively closer together, forming a barrier. Each breath felt like a countdown, an unspoken weight as the footsteps grew nearer. Emily's body trembled, and she felt tears prick her eyes, a mixture of fear and frustration bubbling beneath the surface. Then, without warning, the lights flickered back on, casting their small living room into a harsh reality. Emily blinked rapidly, trying to adjust, and the terrified sight ahead made her freeze. A tall shadow loomed in front of the door, someone she didn't recognize, dark and imposing. "Mark Armstrong." The voice called out, smooth yet menacing. "I think we need to talk." Mark stepped forward, his fists clenched at his sides. "What do you want?" The figure leaned slightly, almost confirming his suspicion. "You've been digging where you shouldn't. Now it's time to pay the price." Emily felt her breath hitch. She turned to Mark, searching his eyes, desperate to understand. Had they really wandered into something that dangerous? "Mark, what does he mean?" "Emily, back away," Mark shouted, his voice piercing through the tension like a knife. He was desperate to shield her, and she could feel it, the strain of protecting her mixed with his own fear. Yet here she was, immersed in his world, facing this unknown threat. She couldn't let him bear this alone. I can't," she protested, standing her ground. "I deserve to know." "Stay out of this," Mark growled, but the moment held an undercurrent of despair. As if he, too, wished she could understand the reality surrounding them, but feared what it might mean for her. Before the figure could respond, the door crashed open. "Mark," a new voice boomed from the entrance. "Get down." Emily gasped as a blur rushed into the room, and suddenly the menacing figure was thrown back against the wall. The unexpected rush of adrenaline jolted through her, spurring her heart to race even faster. Who had just come to their rescue? In the chaos, Mark turned sharply. That was when Emily saw it, a flash of recognition on his face. He knew this person. But who was this savior? Sam, Mark breathed, a mixture of relief and anger flashing through him. Now they were faced with not just one danger, but a multitude of questions. What had Mark been pulled into? And would this new arrival help them or plunge them deeper into darkness? In that moment of chaos, Emily made a vow to herself. Whatever the truth was, she needed to uncover it. It was the only way to protect the ones she loved. But with danger lurking around every corner and allies that felt more like enemies, how far was she willing to go? As Marcus' eyes met hers, she knew they were at a crossroad. Would they stand together against whatever was coming? Or would the truth tear them apart? Just then, a crash sounded from the back of the house. Questions swirled in her mind, but one loomed larger than the rest. What if the real threat was still waiting in the shadows? Emily's heart thudded in her chest as she watched Mark and Sam confront the intruder. Sam assailed the shadowy figure with questions, each one laden with urgency. "What do you want with him? You can't just barge in here." The menacing presence flinched but quickly regained composure. "You have no idea what you're meddling in, do you?" There was a coldness in his tone that shot chills up Emily's spine. "Mark thinks he's clever, but he's in over his head." "Enough!" Mark stepped forward, his voice low but firm. "You don't get to threaten my friends or me. Whatever this is about, it ends now." The intruder smirked, a twisted satisfaction lurking in his expression. "Oh, it's just beginning, Mark. You've stirred things up that should have been left alone." Emily felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just about Mark anymore. Both of them had been thrown into a darkness she couldn't ignore. "What do you mean?" she asked, stepping from the shadows of her fear. "Stay back, Emily," Mark warned, but she shook her head. "Let her speak," the intruder drawled, now enjoying the chaos. "Her curiosity could serve us well." Mark's body tightened, and she could see beads of sweat forming along his brow. "You don't know what you're asking." But how could she step away now? She was part of this, for better or worse. "I need to know the truth," she replied, her voice steady even as her hands trembled. Without hesitation, Sam shifted slightly, creating a protective arc around Emily. "We're all in this together, Mark. We can't afford to hide anymore." For a heartbeat, the room hung still, tension radiating through the air. The intruder glanced at each of them, noting their defiance. "Very well," he said, stepping backward as if creating distance from an invisible line they dared not cross. "But understand this, truth comes with a price." Derek moved beside Mark, his expression set in stone. "What kind of price?" "With all the digging your friend has done, a lot of people could get hurt," the intruder replied, taunting them with a smile. Now, do you want to know about your precious secrets? Or should I let it all go? Just tell us. Emily felt a rush of desperation. What is it about Mark that ties him to you? Your boyfriend has entangled himself with people who don't take kindly to their plans being uncovered. Dangerous people. He turned his gaze decisively to Mark. You've disturbed a world where secrets are currency, and honesty can be fatal. As the weight of his words settled, Emily's thoughts churned. How far had Mark gone in his quest for truth? She caught a glimpse of Mark's face now, pinched and pale. What do we do? She asked, feeling the quiver in her voice. Mark turned to her, eyes filled with a mix of fear and sorrow. I don't know, but we need to stick together. Whatever happens next, I'll protect you. Before she could reply, another crash echoed from the back of the house. The previous chaos seemed trivial compared to what lurked behind that door. Mark, we have to move. Follow me, Sam urged, taking charge as he ushered Emily and the others toward the hallway. Panic surged again, knotting her stomach. They were running headfirst into danger, but the adversary had already revealed how deep this web of deceit was. Every pulse of their hearts drummed a warning as they dashed away. Emily's mind reeled. What secrets lay in wait? What consequences awaited them on the other side of truth? And would they all make it out alive? With uncertainty thrumming in the air, Emily knew one thing. They were not safe yet. Just as she turned to glance back, she caught a flash of movement in the shadows. Someone was watching them, and the real game was only beginning. The hallway felt like a tunnel of shadows as they rushed forward. Emily's heart raced, pounding not just from fear but the weight of what lay ahead. Sam pressed them on, determination etched on his face, while Mark's expression was a mix of dread and resolve. What was that sound? Derek whispered, his voice tight with anxiety. Just keep moving, Mark urged, glancing back as if the intruder might leap from the dark. They flew past flickering lights, the air heavy with the scent of dust and impending danger. Each step felt like a countdown to the corridor's end. A doorway loomed. Sam reached for the handle, but Emily hesitated. The intensity of their situation sunk into her bones. The shadows felt alive, pulsating with unseen threats. Wait, she said, gripping Mark's arm. What if this is a trap? We can't stop now. We have to see if there's another way out, Mark said, his voice steady. They were all breathing fast, hearts racing like a band playing a frantic tune. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed behind them, and Emily felt her stomach drop. Sam, we can't stay here. Before he could respond, a figure emerged, illuminated by the dim hallway light. It was the intruder, standing defiantly, his eyes glinting with mischief. You think running away will save you? The truth has a way of finding you back off. Mark shouted, fists clenched at his sides. Calm down, Mark, the intruder said, a mocking sympathy lacing his words. You're not ready for this fight. Emily unclenched her fists, anger boiling within her. Try us. We're not afraid of you or your threats. His eyes narrowed. Oh, you should be. There's more at stake here than you know. Then he vanished back into the shadows, leaving only unnerving silence. Door! Sam shouted, breaking the tension. He yanked it open. It led to a small storage room filled with old boxes and broken furniture. Emily stepped in cautiously, glancing around for any potential escape. Is this even a way out? Derek asked, scanning the cramped space. The walls were lined with peeling paint and cobwebs, giving off an air of neglect as if time had forgotten this part of the house. Emily felt a surge of desperation. We need to find something useful. There has to be more to this place. Mark knelt beside a pile of boxes. He opened one, revealing old documents and newspapers, evidence of a past connected to the very thing that threatened them. Look at this, he muttered, pulling a crumpled photo from the mess. Emily leaned in closer. The image was faded but clear enough to reveal a familiar face. It was Mark's father, standing beside people who looked hooded and shadowy, as if belonging to a secretive organization. What is this? Emily stammered, her voice thick with fear. Mark's brow furrowed, memories crashing into him like waves. I didn't know you didn't know your own father? Sam pressed, incredulous. This could be why I was targeted, Mark whispered, eyes wide. This explains everything. The realization hit Emily like a punch. Now the truth was darker than she'd imagined. But what if he's not the only one? What if they're still out there? Just then, a loud noise pierced the air, followed by the sound of footsteps approaching rapidly. We have to go now, Sam yelled, urgency in his voice. They scrambled for the door, Emily feeling heavier by the second, burdened by the weight of hidden truths and unspoken fears. Would uncovering the past endanger not only them but everyone involved? Outside the storage area, an escape route awaited either freedom or another trap. As they surged forward, one question lingered in her mind. How deep did the secrets go? And were they about to unearth something that would change everything forever? The moment they burst through the door, the sound of their hurried footsteps echoed against the cold concrete walls. Emily could feel the chill wrap around her like a blanket, a stark contrast to the heat of her racing heart. They found themselves in a narrow alleyway flanked by towering brick buildings looming like ancient sentinels. Where now? Derek gasped, glancing around as if expecting another threat to emerge from the shadows. Let us find another exit, Sam urged, scanning the alley for any sign of a way out. His voice was steady, but Emily could see the tension tightening in his jaw. Mark was still holding the photo tightly, his fingers trembling around the edges. I can't believe my father was involved in something like this. We need to figure out if it's connected to. His voice trailed off, and a raw edge crept in, revealing the turmoil inside him. Emily stepped closer, trying to comfort him. If the secret runs deep, we can't let fear stop us. We have to find the truth. Her determination surprised even herself, but it felt vital. Right, Mark nodded slowly, the courage returning to his eyes as he focused on their immediate task. There's a street just beyond this alley. We can make it if we hurry. They pressed forward, each step punctuated by the sounds of distant traffic, a sign of normalcy amidst their chaos. But that normalcy felt hauntingly out of reach. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Suddenly, a loud crash resonated from behind them. Emily spun around. Go, she shouted, fear lacing her voice. They turned and sprinted, the weight of uncertainty fueling their flight. Bursting onto the street, they stumbled into the light, the chaos of the city flooding their senses. Cars honked and people milled about, oblivious to the storm brewing within their group. Derek caught his breath, looking back toward the alley. Do you think it's safe? For now, Sam replied, scanning the street. But we can't stay out in the open. They'll find us. Mark, still clutching the photo, interjected, we need to regroup. Find somewhere safe to think. I can't piece this together in the open. Emily's mind raced. The cafe a few blocks away, it's quiet. We can analyze the photo and figure out our next steps there. Derek nodded, relieved to have a plan. Let us go. As they started to walk, Emily caught a glimpse of someone lingering at the edge of the street, a tall figure with a familiar silhouette. Her heart skipped. Wait, everyone halted. A sense of foreboding settling over them like a thick fog. The figure stepped out of the shadow, revealing a face she recognized, a face she had thought was long lost to them. Emily? It was her brother, Jake. His expression was a mix of concern and confusion. What are you doing here? The reunion felt surreal. Emotions collided within her: relief, disbelief, and fear, all at once. Jake, I thought you were gone. I'm fine, but we need to talk. Now. His voice was urgent, glancing over his shoulder nervously. There's so much you don't know. Like what? Mark pressed forward, the photograph still clutched tightly in his hand. Without waiting for an answer, Emily felt the ground shift beneath her. They were on the brink of unraveling a web larger than they could see, and only Jake might hold the key to understanding it. Would this revelation steer them toward safety or deeper into danger? Her heart raced again, fear mingling with a faint glimmer of hope. And in that moment, as uncertain futures converged, one question loomed larger than life. What secrets would they learn from Jake that could change everything? Jake, what do you mean? Emily asked, her voice trembling slightly. She searched his face, trying to comprehend the gravity of his words. The tension in the air felt almost electric, thick with unspoken truths. "We don't have much time," he insisted, glancing anxiously around as if he expected someone to appear at any moment. "You're in danger, all of you. We need to get away from here." "Danger?" Mark echoed, tightening his grip on the photo. "Is this about what we found? About your dad?" Jake nodded, his eyes flitting back to Emily. "It's bigger than just a photo. It's about what's been happening behind closed doors. There are people who would do anything to keep their secrets safe." Suddenly, the world around them blurred. The sounds of the bustling city faded into the background. All Emily could focus on was the deep concern etched into Jake's features. "What did you get yourself into, Jake?" she whispered, panic bubbling inside her. "Let us move to the cafe. We can talk there," he urged, stepping back to usher them forward. "We'll be safer inside." They hurried down the street, weaving through the crowd, and Emily felt both relief and despair battling within her. Finally spotting the cafe, they rushed through the door, the bell jingling softly above them. The warmth inside was a stark contrast to the chill wrapping around her heart. They chose a corner booth, trying to remain inconspicuous as they settled in. Jake slid into the seat opposite Emily, his gaze scanning the cafe as if searching for threats. "All right, what's going on?" Sam said, breaking the silence. "You said we're in danger, but you have to give us something more." Jake took a deep breath, leaning in closer. "Our father was involved in something massive, and it ties back to that photo Mark has. The people who were after him, they're still looking for it." Mark exchanged a glance with Emily, confusion clouding his features. "Why would they want it?" Jake hesitated, glancing around the cafe before responding. "Because it reveals everything. Money laundering, fraud, even connections to those in power. Dad wasn't just a businessman. He was part of something much darker." Emily felt her breath hitch. "And you knew this all along? What else are you hiding?" The hurt in her voice was unmistakable. "I didn't know the full extent until after I left. I was trying to protect you," Jake replied, regret shadowing his eyes. "I figured if I stayed away, it would keep you safe from it all." Emily shook her head in disbelief, trying to process what he was saying. "But you came back. How does putting yourself in danger help any of us?" "I couldn't sit back any longer," Jake admitted, a surge of emotion welling up. "I thought I could just erase the past. But now I see it's all catching up to us." The weight of his words hung heavy in the air. Emotions swelled within Emily, an overwhelming mix of fear, betrayal, and fierce love for her brother. "So what do we do now?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "We need to expose them." "But I can't do it alone," Jake said, a light of determination sparking in his eyes. "But first we need to figure out how deep this goes. And I need you all to trust me." Before anyone could respond, a loud crash from outside snatched their attention. The cafe door swung open, and a group of men burst in, their eyes darting around with unmistakable intent. Emily's heart dropped. "What now?" she breathed. Jake's expression darkened. "Run. They've found us." In an instant, the fear that had gripped her heart just moments ago surged back, consuming her completely. They were not done yet. There was still so much to uncover, and there was no escaping this perilous game they had unwittingly entered. What would happen next? Would they be able to expose the truth before it was too late? The cafe erupted into chaos. Emily felt the weight of dread descend on her like a thundercloud, drenching her in fear. Men rushed in, their menacing visages piercing through the warm, safe atmosphere she thought she could cling to. Her heart raced as Jake shouted, pulling her from her seat. "Come on," he shouted, urgency lacing his voice. Mark was already on his feet, eyes wide, ready to shield her. Sam took her other arm, and together they surged toward the back exit. They burst through the kitchen door, the clatter of pots and pans echoing behind them. The scent of brewing coffee was suddenly replaced by the metallic taste of fear. "Where do we go?" Emily gasped, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Outside," Jake urged, leading the way. They pushed through a door and into the alley. The cool air a stark contrast to the heat of the cafe. Fresh hope mixed with desperation. They can't see us. We need to stay close. They sprinted down the alley, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind them. Emily's mind raced back to the photo Mark had found. Who were these men? What was their connection to Mark's father? And how deep did this darkness run? We can't keep running forever. Derek huffed, glancing over his shoulder. They'll catch up. Then we fight. Mark declared, his jaw set with resolve. If we're in this together, we move together, and we're not letting them take Emily or any of us. Right? Sam echoed, pushing his shoulders back. We need to find a place to regroup, to think. Over there. Emily pointed to a darkened storefront a few blocks down. We can hide there. As they approached the entrance, anxiety clawed at her throat. What if they were too late? What if safety was an illusion? Jake's face was tight, his resolve visible, but doubt flickered in his eyes. They entered the store, ducking behind an old shelving unit stacked with unsold merchandise. The smell of dust filled her lungs, prickling her nerves. Panting, they crouched in silence, hearts pounding in unison. Emily took a moment to catch her breath. What do we do now, Jake? She whispered, her eyes searching for answers in his expression. Jake met her gaze. We expose what we know. We play on their fears. They want to silence us, but that's not going to happen anymore. Together we can take back control. Control? Mark shot back, frustration tightening his features. How? We may have stumbled into something bigger than us. Emily felt a wave of determination rise within her. Truth is always bigger than lies. If we stand together, we can face them, whatever they may throw our way. A distant shout echoed from the entrance of the cafe. Get out. Looks like they're on our trail. Sam hissed. We need a plan, and fast. Emily remembered what they had found in the storage room, the documents that held potential links to Mark's father and the dark secrets tied to them. We have the photo and perhaps some other materials. We could use them as leverage. If we can get to a computer or find a way to expose these truths online, we could show the world. Mark inhaled sharply, nodding. I can access the encrypted files I have. It was part of my training. If their network is connected, we can unravel this whole thing much faster than expected. Then it's settled, Jake said, pulling them close. We must be swift. They won't stop just because we're hiding. They moved as quickly and quietly as they could. Ducking low, they navigated out of the store's back exit. Outside, the world felt like a dangerous maze. Chaos thrummed in the air as they crossed alleyways and hidden corners, weaving through shadows like ghosts escaping a nightmare. Suddenly, Emily's phone buzzed in her pocket. Silencing it, panic flared in her chest. We can't risk it, she whispered. But as they reached an abandoned section behind the cafe, she peeked at her screen. It was a text. Derek. I know someone who can help. Meet at Oak Park in 10 minutes. Trust him. Who is it? She whispered back, eyes darting. A friend I can trust. He'll help us get things in motion. Do we trust him? Mark's brow furrowed, concern mounting. Wait, trust in the shadows? Derek chuckled darkly, but the tension in the air didn't allow for humor. We're running out of options. Emily countered, determination flipping within her chest like a spark igniting a fire. We have to move. We can't let fear hold us now. Quiet murmurs filled the air as they moved toward the street. They clung to the shadows, hearts united in purpose, minds racing with possibilities. With steps that grew heavier with every block, uncertainty loomed. With the world constricting around them, they stood on the brink of truth, and with it, the promise of freedom or danger. As they entered Oak Park, the trees loomed around them, shrouded in whispered secrets and half-lit paths. Heads turned nervously as they scanned the environment, searching for their ally. Uncertainty lingered, but Emily felt a heightening sense of purpose. What they uncovered could shift everything, and now it was time to uncover their past, a power they couldn't ignore. With each heartbeat echoing deeper in her soul, Emily knew she wouldn't turn around. They would confront the chaos together, exposing the darkness lurking just beyond their reach. Side by side, united through hope and fierceness, They stand against any threat that tried to silence their truth. As the trees swayed in the evening breeze, uncertainty transformed into determination. The battle for truth awaited. In that moment, beneath the sprawling branches of Oak Park, Emily felt the strength of family and the brilliance of courage ignite, within her a beacon guiding them forward. They were stepping into the heart of the storm, but together, they would emerge renewed. They would face whatever lay ahead, and no darkness could extinguish their flame of truth. This was only the beginning. Don't wait not even one more second. If you're moved by this incredible story, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and ensure these transformations reach others. Comment down below your feelings about this powerful ending, and share this video in an instant with at least 5 friends who need to see this. Show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of standing together in this journey.